Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Five on Friday. So this week we are sadly without Costas, gone MIA a little bit, so we're not sure quite where he is. I think he's had one too many whiskies, but we'll catch up with him later. We do have Kate. Hey Kate, how's everything your end?
Yeah, warm, really warm.
Warm, lockdown and warm.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, look, so this week we've got two people on with us. We've got Deep from Signavio and James from Capdesk. Deep, can I get you to introduce yourself first, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to be here. I'm joining you from Berlin. I run sales enablement at Signavio, and we are a fast-growing SaaS startup. We've got about 400 people, 120 in go-to-market team, and I'm just kind of training and coaching them.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man. Pleasure to have you on the show this week. James, please tell us who you are, your role. Really important. It's good for us to understand who do you guys sell to, a bit about the business. Take it away.
Yeah, of course. So my name's James. I'm basically the first SDR at Capdesk. So effectively we're an equity management software. So we kind of help CFOs and finance teams manage their cap table, employee option pools, and kind of all the associated things with that. Equity is quite a complex subject, as I'm sure everyone's kind of aware. So basically just trying to make that as efficient as possible and as simple as possible for everyone within the business, from finance leaders right down to kind of employees, helping them to kind of understand what their equity means as well. So who we kind of sell into, I guess, is that next kind of thing?
Yeah. What are the kind of people you would sell to?
So typically like post Series A is kind of like the hotspot. Series A, B, C, going on from there. Anyone really that's, as long as they've raised money and have, I would say, upwards of kind of 30 employees, that's kind of the sweet spot. Because prior to that, people will probably be using something like Google Sheets to manage their cap table, which isn't really scalable once you get past that kind of level.
Cool.
So that's where we come in.
Okay, nice one, mate. Well, thank you both for joining us this week. This
No
one's
worries.
going to be awesome. James, what's the main area you'd like to focus on? How can we help you?
So I think for me, being the only SDR, kind of speed at which to prospect accounts is one, and then also video prospecting. We've tried it a little bit and I have a bit of experience in it, but I think kind of like fine tuning that and maybe doing it in a bit more volume, as opposed to it's kind of that battle of quantity over quality and being personalized and not so personalized, and working from there really.
Nice, gold. Okay, Kay, what are you thinking?
Well, seems to me, Alex, that you've just raised a wee round of funding. And so why don't we, given the fact that James hasn't highlighted cold calling or like email structure, he's actually highlighted that research bit and the video. Why don't we just do a live research on ReachDesk?
Okay. Yes, I love it.
What do you reckon?
James,
Put yourself in the hot seat?
Yeah, okay, let's try it. Let's try it for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go for it. So yeah, look, we raised our Series A couple of weeks ago, so this is perfect timing. Let's give you the opportunity to actually prospect me in real life. So James, before we kind of go into the screen sharing bit where you might want to show us what you're doing,
yeah,
what are the things you're looking for at the beginning? Do you have triggers? Do you have some personas? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I guess one of our triggers is funding round raised. That is usually a good trigger. I guess the one downside is they're usually kind of busy after a funding round raise, but that is a really nice trigger. It also gives like quite a nice personalized touch to come in with as like a reason why you're prospecting. For persona wise, we mostly sell into finance teams, CFOs or financial controller possibly, or head of finance, things like that. Recently, we have had quite good success with legal teams as well, usually in the kind of larger startups, really, if they've got a legal team, like an in-house. So legal counsel, general counsel, things like that also works quite well for us.
Put your lawyer hat on there, Alex, as well. You can be wearing two hats.
I think it's going to get exciting, this one. Okay, cool. So look, James, we don't have a CFO or a financial controller at the moment. We do have an in-house legal, but let's pretend that I might be doing a bit of that role. How about we go into like LinkedIn? You can show us what you might be looking for, and you can do us almost like a real life commentary on that. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, let's go for it.
Over to you.
Okay, all right, let me share my screen. One sec.
This is exciting.
I'm terrified.
I mean, I'm
I
fairly
would be
nervous
too.
too, so.
James,
Okay,
out of interest, is Sales Navigator your go-to place? Have you know, what else have you got available at your fingertips to look at this sort of information?
Cognism, Sales Navigator, or Crunchbase is probably where I'm getting the majority of my information
Okay.
from.
And where would you start?
Probably Crunchbase or Sales Navigator. Depends if I'd already had the research, but say I didn't know that they'd raised, then I would be looking in Crunchbase for recent raises.
Okay, all right.
But I guess for this, I would know that you've just raised, ReachDesk have just raised. So I'd probably then just jump in and go for ReachDesk in here. So I usually would sometimes jump to decision makers, but sometimes it doesn't always bring up the right ones. Also, if your top co is in New York, that's maybe a bit of a red flag for us, but not going to throw it off just yet. So we don't usually prospect in CEOs just because they're always very difficult to get hold of. But in this case, it's a tricky one. As you don't have a finance leader, marketing or operations we sometimes sell into. So I'm not sure.
So here's a question for you, James.
Yeah.
You talked about stakeholder and kind of identifying the right stakeholders.
Yeah.
Are you going in for the kill to the decision maker straight away, or are you looking to kind of build up a picture of the kind of organizational values or the kind of the powerhouse within that organization?
I would say from what we've done in the past, what I've done would go straight to the decision maker, usually because there isn't going to be loads of employees underneath that you need to kind of get on board, I guess. If there's 10 people in the finance team, then maybe I might have a different approach. But I'm not sure. Maybe you'd try something different.
I guess the question is over to Alex. You know, not giving away too much away as to how to prospect your organization, perhaps Alex, publicly. But my feeling is often that the influences in an organization can spread out quite far from perhaps that ultimate decision maker. And it's thinking about who's sitting in that board meeting, for example, that might feel quite passionate about getting that kind of vesting or equity share right, if I'm indeed understanding your proposition correctly. So it's about thinking about what that dynamic is in a boardroom when they're talking about things like this, rather than it being a to-do list item on a CFO's list. Any thoughts, Deep and Alex, on that?
Deep, I'll let you go first because I've got tons of ideas. I think
you're on
muted.
mute, Deep.
There you go. Sorry about that. Just a quick comment on that. I think that's a very good point, Kate. I would also look at people that I have the most reach to. So, the more connections you've got with people, just to kind of understand a little bit more about the company, if there's a way for you to kind of have a soft entry to the decision maker, that would be one of the approaches that I could consider as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was actually going to say, like, if you've got a couple of connections and someone, if you think about this, when you raise a Series A or a Series B or something, right, all of a sudden your inbox gets flooded with people prospecting. It's mad. Trust me. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I was prospected enough beforehand, but then all of a sudden it goes through the roof. And as soon as you see the Series A, congrats Series A, you kind of just want to delete all those emails and those messages. Yeah. Whereas if someone, and this actually happened with one of your competitors, sent a message to our legal counsel, Marina, and she forwarded it to me saying, I knew this guy who works at this company about exactly this, managing cap tables and everything.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to have that conversation straight away because it's an internal referral and it's a way warmer way in. If you're doing what everyone else is doing, it's really hard to differentiate. Now, the way into my organization is just to send me a massive cake, but that's pretty hard to do. But yeah, look for connections first. Multi-thread. Like, don't just go after one decision maker. You've got to
Yeah.
You've got to have 3, probably 4. You don't know who's going to be the busiest, and you don't know who's managing what. That's the problem with startups, right? We all wear multiple hats.
Yeah.
And if you're going after startups, you never really know. Like, it could be Milan here who's managing the cap table, right? It could be me. It could be Mark. You don't actually know. So you kind of got to at least triangulate that approach.
Yeah, for sure. No, I completely agree with that. So I guess from there, kind of
So let's say
basing
it
on,
is me. Let's say it is me.
yeah, Veep's advice, then I would go for Alex because you've got the most, we've got a load of shared connections. So we're going to here, and then I'm kind of just looking through on your profile just to find any kind of extra bits of information that might help me like initially reach out and build that relationship. So believing in treating customers like humans, that's kind of a nice touch. So I can kind of maybe play on sending you a video as a human, a kind of message, as opposed to being like just a cold email. That could be a nice initial touch.
So what else can you see about that, James? I'm always interested about, because my mind immediately jumps to multiple things that I can see in that about section.
Yeah.
That Alex, what else other than that human touch would you think you could be creative with?
So I mean, obviously personalized gifting and a human element across every touch point, that's come across quite strongly. That is kind of the business model in the sales process. So maybe incorporating something like that. Maybe that's kind of the role reversal of what you actually do coming back at you, but you maybe don't see that often unless the prospecting person is using your software.
Okay. So James, let's say you sent me an awesome email saying, "Hi Alex, awesome news on your Series A," which is what everyone else says. Yeah, blah blah blah. I understand you care about personalization and all that kind of stuff, and I just didn't respond.
Yeah.
What other things could you maybe draw out of this profile that you think, or maybe I can resonate with this a little bit more, and it might be closer to what you enjoy?
I'd probably go onto your Twitter, maybe.
Okay. I wouldn't do that because I just don't use Twitter anymore. I should probably get
Okay. All right. Okay. Not going on the Twitter. Okay. So I would probably just start to read through the rest of your profile and come down and see if there's anything else. So you're a qualified solicitor, so that's a good start. That helps with the kind of legal aspect of our software and what we're trying to achieve. So at least you'll understand the kind of another kind of element of our software. That's a really good prospecting angle. And then you speak 3 languages. Other than that, we have a good connection here. Cricket and rugby.
There you
That's
go.
a good spot. There we go. I'm also a big rugby fan.
So you're thinking,
in.
James, of a way to scale this. So
Yeah.
you need to train your eye to the things that jump out at you, because there's no use in you spending 20 minutes thinking about all the things that Alex might like and you know, which way does he sweep his hair in the morning, because that's not gonna be able to or enable you to scale. So the trigger points that you're looking at, you need to be able to scroll that page and go, I'm looking for the headline. The headline is this guy putting himself out there as he believes in something else, or is he just putting his job title?
Yeah.
I'm going to read the about. That tells me whether or not they're outward, inwardly focused. I'm going to read that immediate job and scan through. So just have like a list of bang, 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 bang. I'm going to scan through. Now, you're not always going to find something. Sometimes I was talking to one of my guys the other day saying, sometimes profiles can be really, really impossible to read. They can be the dullest thing in the world and you can't get anything from it, but you need to make that decision really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, you know, sometimes things stand out as it does, right? Cricket and rugby, but then you got his Twitter handle, which tells you something, and he's a trustee at Mountains for All. So there's some connection there as well that you could pick on.
Yeah.
So it sounds like I'm pretty easy to find some gold on then, James.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say so?
I would say so. Yeah, you've got a good amount of early info.
Cool. Okay. So look, I think great start with Crunchbase, Series A, awesome. Right. But everyone else does that. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. sales nav, great. You've pinpointed someone that's going to be able to, you're going to be able to prospect to. You've got some real information. You like rugby, from what I can see from your profile, right? That's something that actually you have. That's quite rare. So like, dial in on that first line straight away. And it doesn't have to be tedious. The thing is, you don't want to make it cringeworthy or anything, but use that, right? The mistake a lot of people make is they just say what everyone else says, right? So be a bit more daring and just say, look, I'm a rugby fan. I saw you're a rugby fan. Awesome to see we share something in common. The reason I'm getting in touch is because of this, right? So you're an ex-lawyer. I'm not sure if you're the right person who's going to be, whatever it is, right? What I'd love to see now, and hopefully you've got enough information, is how would you video prospect me? Right, so you've already sent a couple of emails, right? You've already tried calling me, no go, but I've now connected with you on LinkedIn. You're going to send me a LinkedIn video. Do you want to have a stab at what that might look like?
Yeah, shall I just come straight off the cuff?
Yeah, well, let's all go on, Kate.
Yeah, I just want to give you a little bit of a structure, and the reason I say this is yesterday I was on a session with the Revenue Collective, and we were lucky enough to have Andy Bounds speak to us and had a conversation with him, and he had a great structure about communicating with impact, right? So it's the 2-3-1, right? So you start with the end. What do you want as the outcome to this? And everything that you plan around that, even if it's off the cuff, is what outcome do I want? Yeah, so start with that in your head. Don't start with that when you're communicating it, but start with that when you're planning it and structuring it. Start with the end. The next one is the start. So how are you going to put something in Alex's mind that will make it memorable, that will make him listen? So that's your hook, right? So that's your hook. And then the third is, what's the content that I'm going to do in the middle of all that? So think about what the outcome you want. So I'll ask you right now, what outcome do you want from this video message?
For Alex to say, yeah, I'm interested. Let's jump on a call. Okay.
So you want to book a call with Alex. So when you finish that video message, be really clear on the outcome. How are you going to start it? And I'm going to leave that to you. And then that middle bit that bridges the gap. Okay. So it was just so fresh on my mind that it was a really nice clarity of structure.
Nice. Okay. I'm actually going to throw a curveball and start with cricket instead of the rugby, just because it's a hot topic.
Cool. If you mention the fact we just lost to Australia, then I'll be really upset. But that's okay. All right, James, do you want to stop sharing your screen so we can see the full James Bardwell? And when you're ready, let's pretend you're recording that video, and this is going to land in my LinkedIn inbox in a couple of minutes.
Okay. Cool. Okay, let me think about just the best way. Okay, I'm going to keep it quite short as well, because I don't think you're going to watch too much of it otherwise. So I guess I'm like, hey Alex, I'm sure you're just as bummed about the cricket as I am yesterday. Don't worry too much. I'll send you a video of Stokes winning the Ashes last year after this email, so I'm sure that'll pick you up. Just wanted to get in touch. Just saw you raised your Series A. Congrats on that. Capdesk, not sure if you've heard of us. We're an equity management software. We streamline your cap table and allow you to distribute and manage all of your employee option pools in one place efficiently, so you can kind of scale post Series A without having any errors, etc. It'd be great if that's kind of interested of you, and we can jump on a call.
Cool, nice.
I mean, off the cuff.
I mean, actually, a very good job, mate. Very good job. How did you find that, James?
Yeah, not too bad. I could have done with maybe 5 minutes more prep, but not too bad.
That's pretty good going.
Too bad off the cuff.
Yeah. Do you have any specific feedback for James before we go into the nitty gritty? I mean, go into the nitty gritty by all means, but what feedback have you got for James on that?
I love the start, mate. I just loved it. I think, you know, how you just kind of picked it up real quick, and you were on your toes, and you just brought the right message. And I think that would have got you hooked, Alex, if I were you. So that good stuff. And I loved how you brought the fact that, you know, you're going to send him some videos after the email, So he's going to be waiting for that email as well. So I hope you deliver on that. That was good stuff. I loved it.
Kate, how about you?
Yeah, I think don't worry about the fact that you didn't prep that. You're thinking about doing things at scale. The more natural you can make it, like you just literally did then, the more warming it's going to be and engaging it's going to be, rather than you reading from a script. So kind of don't go over analyzing that. Get your structure and almost do it like that. The only bit that I would absolutely say is the middle bit, that content. Just simplify it a little bit and focus on the outcome. You know, rather than going into we help them streamline. It's like, we help make it really, really simple for you to do your equity management, and please your FD, whatever it might be, but make that really, really outcome based. But other than that, just, I love the natural aspect of it, and don't lose that. That was brilliant.
Mm.
Yeah, James. So look, you're speaking to someone who is literally experiencing the problem you solve right now. Okay. I love the intro, obviously. I'm deeply disappointed we lost to Australia. I'm deeply disappointed, particularly with such a close game. The Stokesy thing is gold, by the way. If you ever find cricket fans, I think that's brilliant. If anyone watching, use that. I will happily watch that over and over again. In fact, I already have. The problem I've got here, James, is I don't really understand the problem as much. I feel like you're dialing in a bit too much on the let's make it easy, let's make it simple, right? But if you say like, mate, Alex, as a founder of a company, managing your cap table is probably not a priority that you want to have to worry about. It's messy, it changes a lot, takes a lot of people's time up. There are so many issues that actually frustrate me personally about the cap table, right? It's annoying.
Yeah.
So I would dial in on the problem a little bit more, because at the moment you're just saying, I can make it really easy for you, but I'm not feeling the problem. And there's a saying that people will jog towards the simplicity of things, but they'll sprint away from anything that's going to cause them pain. Right? And if you can make someone feel like, if you don't have Capdesk, then your problem as a founder, which is tricky enough anyway, is actually going to get worse and worse. I think that's the only thing I would recommend you tweak. And there are some really easy ways of doing that, by the way. Do you find it's frustrating that now you've raised your Series A and you want to go and spend all the money, you have to spend all your time managing the cap table? And that could be one, right? Do you find X, Y, and Z about equity management within your business is just boring, time consuming, and doesn't allow you to focus on the tasks that really matter, the promises you've just made to your new board? Like, at Capdesk, we help you streamline all of that and make it really easy so that you can focus on the things that really matter as a founder. And that's when I'm going, okay, even if it's not me that manages it, Mills, Santos, Mark, I'll be saying this guy can help you because you manage that. If it's not me, and it allows you the opportunity for someone to refer that internally as well. So I think that's the only thing I would like to see from you, is dial in on the pain a little bit more, because at the moment for me it feels a bit like you're going to make my life easier, but I'm not as aware of the problem that you solve. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think for sure, like if you talk about the problem, like you said, it makes them kind of feel more empathetic towards what you're trying to do, and it will kind of catch more reason for them to engage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Especially if you can catch them at that moment of feeling that pain. It also makes them feel like you're understanding it. But when you're doing a video like that, again, try not to make it too long and wordy. That would be my only bit when you're doing that, and keep it conversational and really sort of like that's the whole point of video and video prospecting.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things. It is actually a real big pain.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is, right? And you know, I'll be very honest with you. I have been prospected by your company recently. I've been prospected by everyone in the industry that you guys operate in, and everyone's saying the same thing. So you have to differentiate. You have to dial in on the things that people really care about. That's the only thing I can really give you, because I think you know how to intro, you know how to research people. I've seen your emails and stuff. You know how to do the basics really well. It's like, if you want to get in the top 1%, focus on the pain.
Nice.
Deep, Kate, any other feedback for James?
Yeah.
No, I think go on, Deep.
No, go for it, Kate. If you have something.
No, go on.
Just a minor one, not related, but just because I was a camera buff, or I am, I would highly recommend to have your laptop a little bit at your eye level, because that would leave an extra impact when person looks at you and hears that comment, and that would be just more powerful. Right now, you're probably looking down at that person and not at the eye level. Little thing, but makes a difference.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, makes a big difference actually. That
That's a good tip.
nice.
Nice one.
The only thing I was going to add is just keep honing it and keep practicing it, so that's the art to scale. You know, when you're trying to do personalization like that and you're trying to do it at scale, it's just practice, 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 so that you can churn them out really quickly, and that you can start spotting those things on their LinkedIn profile very quickly that you can convert to a video like that. You know, what we just did in 15 minutes, you can get done in 5. You know, if you keep practicing and get very comfortable and create a rhythm and a structure for yourself that you just know that you follow, it becomes formulaic and a kind of scientific output then. So focus on that process and practice it.
Yeah, I think Kate's absolutely right, James. You want to spend ideally less than 5 minutes. My advice is, I've kind of got 2 things just to add on what I said before. Don't just use one video channel, right? You've got LinkedIn video, which is powerful. If you're prospecting on social, you've also got tools like Vidyard and Loom and Hippo Video that go via email. So I would try both and see if there's a big impact from sending through both those channels. I love the tip that Deep gave about like having it at the eye level, because I've actually had a load of these recently where I feel like someone is looking down at me. But SalesLoft did a really important study, I can send it to you afterwards, around the time you need to spend on research and personalization. And the bit they said about personalization is you don't need to spend more than 20% of your outreach on the actual personalization piece. Some people get really bogged down in I'm going to personalize this bit, and it's all personalized, and actually it's almost this law of diminishing returns. So you want to spend about 5 to 6 minutes getting that right, like putting it into practice. But anything more than that actually doesn't yield much bigger results. So if you can get it down and get sort of the big chunky bit in the middle nailed, I think the value proposition is going to be quite similar a lot of the time. All you have to do is get that first bit right. Dollar Shave Club did a survey 3 years ago, and they found it takes 27 seconds to build a relationship with someone. So all you have to do is get that bit right in the 27 seconds. And with me, I think you absolutely nailed it with Cricket and Stokesy. So you did a really good job. Cool. Yeah. So I think, guys, Deep, Kate, any other feedback we can give for James?
No, as long as James doesn't want us to dig into any other areas.
I think that was great. Yeah, no, it was really good. I really appreciate the feedback. It's really good.
Cool, man. James, well, look, did you get what you needed from us today?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, really good. Very spontaneous, that off the cuff. I think I'll have to actually wait for your email inbox tomorrow. We'll see. If it doesn't impress, then well, that's it.
Love it. So look, one final thing, James and Deep, either of you, does anyone have anyone you want to nominate to come on to 5 on Friday in the future?
Yeah, I've got as a prospector, Frederick. I would love to nominate him. He's selling for HubSpot and does a lot of video selling. I'm gonna ping him. And Shruti as a judge, as a coach, who could join you.
Nice. So where's Shruti from?
She's based out of India and works with Wingman.
Oh, sweet. We're gonna have someone from Wingman on. That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, James, how about you?
I will nominate a old colleague called Charlie Kane. He has just moved to like a more of a fintech payments company as an SDR. So a bit of a different mix up for him. So maybe he could try out some new, get some good feedback from you guys.
Awesome. Some great nominations there, team. Okay. Well, look, guys, thank you both for joining. Deep, really great feedback. Appreciate you coming on as the coach. And James, thanks for presenting. Really appreciate you doing that, particularly on quite an off the cuff manner. I think you did an awesome job and probably got the meeting with Reach Desk. So well done, mate. Kate, always a pleasure. To everyone who's watching, this has been another episode of 5 on Friday. We'll see you next week.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye.